budgets.
So I'll just say real quick, did everybody, I believe Commissioner Davis handed out everybody's budget, so everybody has a copy of the draft budget?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
All
President.
right.
Okay,
Thank you. We will be having a budget meeting on the 18th. Is that what's planned?
Yes.
May the 18th? And that will be a virtual meeting also?
Yes, and so if you can join via video for that meeting, that way we will have a PowerPoint presentation as we always do for the budget. That way you'd be able to see the PowerPoint. If not, please just let me know and we can make sure you have actual physical copies of the PowerPoint to review. Okay, Mr. Mayor.
thank you, Mr. President.
Yes.
Good to go?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. This is my statement to the commission. The FY 2021 operating budget focuses on the basics to include state and local mandates. It is also meant to fund essential services that are needed to the community and our residents. While the revenue will decline, the need of our residents and our duty to provide essential services will not decline. It is widely known that through this correspondence with the MML, County Executive's Office, and the other areas, that our revenue will be impacted by the COVID-19 virus. Unfortunately, there's no one who knows how great the impact will be. We've broken it down into, we'll start off here with 3 state county-wide areas. Ms. Willis?
All right. So what I did is I took some information from MML and the county executive's office. All municipalities are trying to figure out what the reduction in revenue is going to be. All we know that there's going to be an impact. So we looked at the state and county-wide areas. The highway user revenue is reduced by 12% from fiscal year 2020. Predictions are that's going to be one of the harder hit areas as people aren't traveling, they're not spending money on the roads or gas. So the total for that would be $116,393. The income tax revenues also are estimated to be greatly impacted. So we did a 12% reduction from the audited fiscal year 2019. And estimated income tax revenues at $250,000. Property tax revenue, listening to the county executive, she expects that to remain stable. However, we are going to keep we're going to recommend that the rate stays the same at 0.36 per 100 or 36 cents per 100 assessed. We're expecting grant funding to be reduced as the state has announced they're not going to fund a lot of the grants unless you were already a grant participant. The county tax equity, we received notice from the county executive of about approximately $435,005. This is a 1.3 reduction from last year. The real estate taxes, that's the big unknown right now that nobody's really sure. So we estimated to be the same as audited FY 2019. The reason I went with FY 2019 audited is because those are the last solid numbers that we knew to be true. The budgeted FY 20, they were estimates, so that's why we chose that. Local municipalities, town budgeted service charges revenues are down only about $1,200 to $231,500. Some other areas to consider where we may see additional revenue, reduced revenue is in the pool and park pavilions, depending on how long the restrictions last, as well as any parking revenue, fines revenue, and parking bag rentals. The water and sewer revenues are budgeted slightly higher this year, and that's basically due to the tap fees that are expected from Rudders for both water and sewer. Water's estimated at $568,050, and sewer is at $1,079,400. And there's a decrease in the interest revenue. Did you want to pick back up, Mr. Mayor? You want me to keep going?
I'll just go up and finish up if you want.
Okay.
You're going on the expenses?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. This is only a draft the
Oh, no,
budget.
our budgeted revenues. You want me to keep going?
You keep going, I can't read it.
Okay, our budgeted revenues are $1,870,067, which is a reduction of $90,519, or a 4.6% decrease from audited FY 2019. Basically, what we did is try to fund the basics, including all the state and local mandates, fund all the essential services to our town residents, and the mayor wants to continue to support the town staff. Basically, he's recommending a step increase with a 2% COLA for town staff. Town budgeted salaries for FY '21 is $947,938, which is an 8% increase over fiscal.
Ms. Willetts, hi. I'm looking for these numbers and I'm not seeing a page. Could you give me a page where you are in the packet?
There is no page. This is the mayor's presentation. I can email it to you, to everybody at a later date.
Okay, thank you.
Where was it? Please note, so 54% of that increase on budgeted salaries. We're proposing the new hire for water and sewer. However, we would like to include that in the budget, but not complete that hiring until we see where our revenues are and how things have settled out. If that additional position is not added, salaries will only increase by $12,465. So overall expenses, budgeted general fund expense before capital funds transfer is $1,702,508. This is only a 1.2% increase from fiscal year 2020. The capital funds transfer for fiscal year 2021 will be about $167,559, which is down 32% since fiscal year 2020. The budgeted water funds expenses increased by 9.1% for a total of $636,789. Again, $11,500 in that is if a new position would be added. Budgeted sewer fund expenses increased by 10.4% for a total of $811,821. And once again, the new position would add $47,000. Pat, turn back over to Mr. Mayor.
Oh, thank you very much. Again, this is only a draft of the budget. We're still waiting for information on the sheriff office contract, the adjusted pool addendum, and budget items related to COVID-19. We hope we can get some more responsible, dependable information as we go along, but we're waiting. We have a town planner and I have a conference call with the county executive on Wednesday. It's our weekly meeting, and we find out from there, and like everybody else, we find out what Governor Hogan has to say on his press conferences. But it might be, just put in the back of your mind, we may have to revisit this in the mid-year because this is all new territory for all of us small towns. Thank you, sir.
But you will have.
I will add one. Can I add one thing?
Yes.
So the mayor and I have been working with the county executive's office. The county did receive monies that municipalities can apply for grant funding for reimbursement on expenses related to COVID-19. So we will have to add to our budget things related to COVID-19, particularly the playground cleaning, the PPE expense, the additional cleaning supplies, hazard pay, and anything related to technology that we've had to do during this. So those things, the budget will change come May 18th on certain items.
You will have copies of the list you just went through for us.
Yeah, I can
mean,
email everybody a hard copy of what I just read.
That would be very helpful. It's much easier to follow and comprehend what's being presented with that in front of us.
Yeah, I understand. It was unfortunately not finished until late in the day today.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Well, when the agenda goes out, we also have a copy sent to us on the agenda.
So, right. Please look over the budget, and I will email this to everybody tomorrow. If you have any questions as you go through the budget, please email me so Cole and I can work on being better prepared for the May 18th meeting to address any questions or concerns over the budget. Again, this is a bare bones budget. It's very hard to work with a significant reduction in revenue and still fund the essential services. So if you have any questions, there's reasons behind most of these or all these numbers. Let myself, the mayor, or Cole explain them. That's all I have.
You have anything else, Mr. Mayor?
No, Bert, thank you very much.
Anybody else have any other questions? This was just their presentation to us, and we will have a meeting on the 18th.
Kathy, can you be able to read that?
Everybody okay?
Just a
Yeah,
thank.
good.
Sorry, go ahead.
Alrighty. We'll move on to the next agenda item.
Mr. Sweeney, I'll just throw in a thank you to staff for preparing this. I know that they worked very, very long hours to get this done.
Thank you.
Yeah, the numbers I believe that Kathy was reading out probably aren't in the book.
They are.
They're adjusted numbers.
All the numbers I read are in the book.
Yep.
It's just more of a summary.
Okay.
But I will definitely email everybody so they have a copy of it tomorrow.
Alrighty, thank you. Next agenda item. Approve of the engineering firm for the Water Clarifier Project for consideration.
Yes. As you know, we've been discussing adding the water clarifier for since I believe October of last year. I'll just a brief timeline. The RFP was published by the town on December 16th. It was advertised on the RFP tab on our website, MLL Classifieds, Frederick News Post Publications, and we sent emails to the engineering firms that have bid on past projects. There was a mandatory site visit on January 7th and January 8th. The bids were due on February 14th. We opened the bids on February 25th. On February 25th, we did the initial bid opening. Staff assigned bids to review. March 16th, in-depth review of the bids by staff. And April 29th, I received all the staff recommendations. On page 27 is just the chart, the breakout chart for the bids related to the clarifier. Town staff, we recommend awarding the bid to RK&K for $243,114 for several reasons. They had the most in-depth bid that addressed all of our concerns for keeping gravity flow to the water plant. They are the only one that specifically used gravity flow in the understanding of the scope. This is much more in line with our current system, and it's better suited to the town's needs. They went through all the elevations. They put a lot of thought into their bid. Their bid includes recommendations for buildings and DAFs that are conducive to the proposed site and electric available. As you know, we've worked with RK&K on several different projects. They are very knowledgeable with our system. They're very knowledgeable on any federal and state grant funding. Their package that they put together was very, very detailed. So staff recommends going with RK&K for the water clarifier in the amount of $243,200.
Any questions?
Yes, sir.
I have one.
Oh, go ahead.
Commissioner Ritz.
You sure? Okay, thank you. Actually, it's a two-parter here. First is a comment. Thank you for recommending RK&K. The lowest bid of GD&F seems a little suspicious to me. I don't know what this means, but on page 27, the third to last column, bid support. What exactly is bid support? The reason I ask is the proposed vendor, RK&K's dollar amount for that category to me seems a bit padded compared to the others. So just curious as to what bid support is.
So I initially thought the same thing, but then if you look at the other columns, it's just the way they broke out the work. So it covers everything that the other ones do. If you look at project design, they're lower than everybody except GDAF, and look at construction services, again, they're significantly less on their construction services. Bid support is basically putting the entire bid packet together for the construction of the clarifier. It's working with either USDA or MDE on funding, preparing all the documents, advertising the project. They basically do everything that the staff does on the smaller projects with reference checks and filtering through all the bids and presenting to the town their recommendation and breaking it all out.
Okay, no, it's a good point. You mentioned some of the other categories being different dollar amounts, but I don't know why that one just jumped out at me.
No,
But,
it jumped out to me as well. And when I went back and looked at it, it was the way each contractor kind of broke out the work. Some included some of the stuff in construction. So some of what RK&K put in bid support, the other ones put in construction services.
I see. Okay. That's all I had. Thank you.
Anybody else? Tim?
Yes, sir. Thank you. I have three questions. Overall, the function of the water clarifier is what, please?
Basically, the water clarifier is, it would come in depending on, well, with RK&K's design, and forgive me because I'm not Dan, I'll do my best to explain. It comes in from the water plant, and as you know, from the Rainbow Lake, excuse me. You know, we bring in from Rainbow Lake depending on rain, temperature, brings in algae, it brings in sediment, it brings in other things from the lake. This clarifier, it kind of
Is it safe to say it's part of the filtration system?
yes. So what it does is it cleans out the water essentially in layman's terms so that when it goes into the filters of the plant, we're not having to backwash nearly as much water. Our filters aren't going to get clogged. We'll get much longer runs out of our system. To us, staff level, it's instrumental in continuing to improve the water quality.
And
Great.
also tries
Okay.
to use our lake water more? Get us up to 50%? Is that what you're trying to do?
We could.
Yes.
It could allow the demand for the lake to remain higher also.
Okay. I'm looking on page 26 of 43. In the bottom section among recommendations, you use the term DAFs, D-A-F-S.
Don't you ask me that. Don't ask me what that stands for because I do not remember what Dan told me.
Okay.
It's
all right.
it's part of the filtration system.
Okay, great.
Oh,
And
there it is. It's dissolved air filtration.
dissolved air. Okay, very good. So it's part of the filtration system.
Yes.
Okay, great. That satisfies that because I didn't know what it was either. And it looks like it's going to be an electric consumer. So is this something that we will have the ability to add to our electric consumption drawn from the solar field category, as it were?
Yes. Once it's up and running, it definitely could be added to our solar. What's one thing with, and that was something I didn't touch on, with RK&K's design, where they want to locate our clarifier, there is electric accessible. The other contractors really didn't specify on location, but they all mentioned the need for additional electric run, and we all know that can be very expensive. So that was another reason we liked RK&K's design.
Terrific. Thank you for your thorough answers. Much appreciated.
Any other questions?
Just one question. Where is their location versus where everyone else wanted to put them then?
Well, their location is up the hill from the wastewater or from the water treatment plant, which will allow the gravity flow, which we already have. The other contractors basically said they need to investigate more once they're awarded the bid and then tell us where and what they'd like to put in, which was another drawback because there was nothing definitive. So I don't know their locations.
Okay.
Any other questions? Commissioner Davis, you have any?
I'm good.
Okay. We definitely need to clarify. It will allow us not to backwash as much. We won't be losing as much water as we do now.
Right.
It'll probably cut it in half, if not more. We won't have to buy as much water from the Mount St. Mary's.
This is one of the projects we submitted to MDE for grant funding. We would get that award notice the first part of 2021. Is that correct, Maddie? For the Clarifier bit grant with MDE? Okay.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes, Commissioner O'Donnell.
Thank you, sir. My understanding was when we purchased water from the Mount, it was actually just to keep the connection functioning. Would this actually allow us to reduce our purchases from the Mount?
No, because the water we purchase from the Mount is to keep that line from the Mount flowing and keep
Right,
the
okay.
levels where they need to be. So we would continue to purchase, as long as the agreements with the Mount, that additional water. And it's also for emergency situations also. I don't know, maybe there would be a time that we could reduce it, but you couldn't get rid of it altogether.
No.
So that could be something that we could look at in the long run down the road.
It's kind of part of our redundancy, I thought. So it's to our advantage to make those purchases.
Yes.
That's what
Yes,
I.
to keep the line flowing. But also will
Correct.
save us a lot of water. I mean, we waste a lot of water by back washing and trying to clean the filters and stuff. So
Yes.
we're producing a lot more water than what we're actually selling, or wasting a lot more water than what we're selling.
Agreed, 100%, sir. Thank you.
Any other
Want a
questions?
motion?
Motion, please.
We need a motion to accept the RK&K as the bid for the proposal.
Right.
Commissioners?
I make a motion to accept RK&K of Baltimore, Maryland's bid in the sum of $243,200 for the Water Clarifier Project. Do we need any?
I'll second that.
Motion's been made by Commissioner O'Donnell and second by Commissioner Ritz. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Postpone.
So real quick, the small cell tower ordinance and then the small wireless facility standards have been postponed for two reasons. One, the fee policy needs to be passed in conjunction with this. However, discussions with the mayor, he did not want to bring forth anything that would raise fees during the COVID-19. But then second reason is I'm working with Leslie right now on a request from Comcast related to their Xfinity Wi-Fi devices and the current franchise agreement. They may be eligible for an exemption on a portion of that, and I'm waiting to hear back from the attorney before we move forward with the ordinance.
Hey, can I ask a quick follow-up to that Comcast comment?
Commissioner Byrne?
Does the town have a deal with Comcast to be a semi-exclusive provider for internet service and things of that nature, or is it open for Verizon and other cable-based networks to come in?
I haven't read the franchise agreement in a while. My understanding is it does not limit competitors. Mr. Mayor might know a little bit more than I do. Do you?
That's my understanding.
That's your understanding as well. I'd have to.
The only reason I ask is I was told a couple of years ago that obviously Verizon's come out and improved their internet service and things of that nature, and Comcast really has a stronghold on the area, with the exception of people that are using Dish Network and things of that nature. With more and more people switching to cutting the cable from Comcast and just using internet, a viable option would obviously be to have Verizon in town. I just wasn't sure if we had an exclusive franchise with Comcast that's not allowing for that, or if that's something that Verizon just hasn't made its way up into this area yet.
It's my understanding Verizon has not made its way to the area yet, is my understanding of it. I know that the attorney's office was looking to see if there's any competitors, and right now it does not appear that Comcast has any significant competitors, but that could change in the future.
No, thank you. Yeah, because obviously, Verizon. It would be nice to have viable options, more than one for people in town, especially as people are quote unquote cutting the cord from cable and doing more digital streaming.
Right. Last time I checked, Verizon didn't offer high speed. I think they still offered DSL up here.
Yeah, I've seen bits and pieces of it. I've looked several occasions, and it looks like they're trying to come into the area, but I wasn't positive, and I had to contact them directly to find out for sure.
Right.
I've talked to an AT&T executive multiple times about improved internet access for our community, and AT&T and most other larger companies aren't interested in spending the money for the infrastructure for fiber optic, which would be the best we could get so far.
Right.
The curious thing I also found out was AT&T is very committed to fiber optic, and fiber optic is what the 5G small cell towers rely upon. So we're kind of sort of in a curious position here. We want fiber optic. We certainly want the small cell towers, of course, in the right place, but it's not going to happen without that fiber optic piece in place. And I think the circumstance we're in right now, we need the best internet capacity we have as a community, because in speaking to staff at times, I know that they've had difficulty just having access to gubernatorial announcements via internet. And that's a concern. So my hope is that in quick time, we do this. As a town, we push the idea of our legislators to compel these communication companies to provide fiber optic service to small rural communities like our own. So just a thought.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll continue with the agenda item. Agenda item number 6, approval of the ordinance 20-04 and ordinance 20-05 regarding the collection of charges for consideration.
Thank you. Basically, 04 and 05, as I mentioned in the manager's report, we added a drop box to the rear of the town office building at 300A South Seaton. So all that essentially does is we had to make changes to Title 13 and Title 10, basically where people can pay their water, sewer, trash bill, basically number 6, which is bulleted, by placing the payment in the drop box located in the rear of the town office building at 300A South Seaton Avenue. So now we've given people six different ways to make payments. And then Title 10 is the parking enforcement, and it also adds, again, by placing the payment in the black drop box located in the rear of the town office building at 300A South Seaton Avenue. And that's all that those ordinances are.
Alrighty, I need a motion to accept ordinance 2004 and our 20-4 and 20-5.
I make a motion to approve ordinance 20-04 and ordinance 20-05 regarding the collection of charges.
A second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Burns, second by Commissioner Davis. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Oh, wait a minute. Go ahead. Commissioner
just one
Ritz.
thing, and this is going to tie into at the end of the meeting when we do the June budget, the June agenda. I don't know what's on the plate. I'm all for this 100%. I just wanted to throw it out there. I know part of this ordinance for the water collection of water charges. First off, thank you to the mayor and the town office for postponing the water bills, due to hardship, people losing their job due to this pandemic. However, after everything clears up, I'd like to revisit this ordinance and looking in the future for the way, shut off notices and the amount to turn water back on for individuals, maybe redo the ordinance a little bit. A hardship factor.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Yes, sir.
All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Agenda item 7. Authorization to obtain USDA Rural Development funding for the Creamery Road Pump Station project.
All right, so the next 3 items are related and the requirements by USDA for funding for the pump station. Resolution 20-09R is authorization to obtain USDA Rural Development funding for the Creamery Road Pump Station project for consideration. It basically says it's hereby resolved by the Board of Commissioners for the town of Emmitsburg. We need to change that date. 4th day of May 2020, that public notices for the purpose of seeking financial assistance from various funding sources for the removal and replacement of the existing Creamery Road Pump Station are hereby approved. The location of the pump station is at 17700 Creamery Road, Emmitsburg, Maryland 21727. Now therefore it be hereby enacted this 4th day of May 2020 by the Mayor and Board of Commissioners that resolution number 2020-09R is true, correct, and duly adopted by the Mayor and Board of Commissioners of the town of Emmitsburg. We've made the correction to this resolution that we would have the Mayor and Commissioner Sweeney sign.
We need a motion to accept this authorization.
Well, a quick question, sir.
Mr. O'Donnell?
So through this, we are seeking a loan or grant, or one of those, or both of those?
Well, basically, the next resolution, we'll discuss it. So right now, we're with USDA on funding for this project. We did not receive any funding from MDE related to this project. USDA, looking at our financials, will offer us a loan at the poverty rate, which is an exceptional rate, if we can get this all through by the end of June before their rates change.
Okay.
I think it's
Thank
a 35 or 50 year, it's a very long loan.
Long term.
This is a project, the pump station has exceeded its useful life by many years. This resolution just authorizes us to apply for the financial assistance for it.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? I need a motion to authorize them to apply for the grant money.
I make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 20-09R with the date modification as indicated.
Yes.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Ritz, second by Commissioner O'Donnell. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any nays? Motion carries 5-0. Item number 8, approval of the resolution for 20-08R, authorization for the town manager to file an application for the federal assistance with the USDA Rural Development Project for the pump station.
Yes, so there's just one change on this one as well. It should read, and which I'll get to it. Basically, this is authorizing myself and the mayor to execute all the documents, basically to sign the application for USDA. Whereas the town of Emmitsburg is eligible to apply for funds from the U.S. Department of Agriculture through Rural Development. whereas the town of Emmitsburg realizes the necessity of upgrading the Creamery Road pump station in the interest of public health and sanitation, and whereas the town of Emmitsburg has determined that improvements to their Creamery Road pump station would assist the commissioners in continuing to maintain the sanitary sewer system for the community, and whereas the commissioners, is what that should read, have held required public hearings related to the formulation of the town of Emmitsburg's rural development application. Now therefore be it resolved that the commissioners for the town of Emmitsburg authorize the submittal of an application for federal financial assistance in the amount of $627,630 this 4th day of May 2020. Be it further resolved that the mayor, Donald N. Briggs, and town manager Kathleen R. Willets are authorized and empowered to execute any and all documents required for the submission of this application.
Any questions from commissioners?
So just to make sure we're aligned, this town meeting counts as a public hearing related to the formulation?
Yeah, so I checked with the town attorney to make sure that we are in compliance, and we are. We have actually been talking about, working on, and included in our agenda this project beginning August 6th of 2018, all the way through the present time.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions? I need a motion for the resolution, 20-08R.
I make a motion for the approval of resolution 20-08R, authorizing the town manager to file for an application for federal assistance with the USDA Rural Development.
With the correction of commissioner instead of town council on the 2 line items?
Yes.
Okay, or
Yes,
two-
with the correction of commissioners instead of
Town council.
town council on the 2 line items.
Alrighty.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Burns, second by Commissioner O'Donnell.
Davis.
Or is it Davis? Oh my God, I can't, it's hard to
O'Donnell.
tell who it
Oh,
was.
it was O'Donnell. My apologies.
I thought that was
All right.
him.
Sorry.
Commissioner Davis has been very quiet
I
tonight.
know.
He's still on the call?
I'm here.
He's there.
Okay.
All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 9, approval of the policy 20-04, limited to English proficiency plan for consideration.
Correct. So this is a USDA requirement. It's a new requirement because we never had to do it before to receive federal funding. Basically, it says, according to USDA, all USDA funding recipients are required to have a limited English proficiency plan that incorporates the following. Number 1, the number of LEP persons likely served in the area. These numbers are based on the U.S. Census, and that's addressed on page 2 of the document, number 1, on page 39. Frequency in which the plan will be reviewed to make sure it remains current. That's number 2 on page 39. The frequency LEP persons come into contact with the town. That's number 3. Number 4, the resources available to LEP persons and the cost. That is actually on page 2. And then it is again on, I say page 2, but page 39 and then page 41. How town staff can identify someone who needs assistance. We've addressed that on page 40. How to implement language assistance measures. That's again on page 40. How town staff are made aware of the LEP requirements. That is on page 41. How the plan will be disseminated to the public. Again, that's on page 41, and it'll be posted on our website. We basically modified the template from the town of Lexington in South Carolina. USDA has reviewed the policy as written, has determined it would pass, making us compliant with their requirements. Once approved, we have to post this policy on the town website. We need to post a flyer in English and Spanish at the town office saying translation services are available at no cost. And then we'll have to have a brief training with town staff that goes over the policy, how to assist a LEP person, and how to document the request.
Any questions?
Who would be providing?
One at a time.
Wait a minute,
Joe.
one at a time. Commissioner Burns first. Go ahead, Commissioner Burns.
Who would be providing the LEP translation if needed?
We have not contracted with anybody as of yet. I think we would be reaching out to any volunteer in the town or with our local Mount St. Mary's or any other community groups that maybe would like to provide a volunteer for these services.
I think we ought to send Jimmy and Dan.
I would. You got me. The county might provide those services already. We might be able to coattail on them. And there might be a language line available through Frederick County Public Schools. We might be able to coattail with those folks as well, perhaps.
Right, I think there's a lot of options. That's definitely a very good option.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, my one question was answered. I was wondering the purpose of this policy. Seems to me that the two resolutions that we just voted on, in order to obtain USDA loan/grant, you have to have this policy in place, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I figured it was tied to something else, and that was going to be my question. So thank you for addressing that
You're welcome.
without me even having to ask.
Any other questions? I need a motion to approve the policy 20-04, limited English, LEP plan, the LEP plan.
I make a motion to approve policy 20-04 limited English proficiency plan.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Thank you.
Motion's been made by Commissioner O'Donnell, second by Commissioner Burns. Any other discussion? All in favor?
No.
Please. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any nays? Motion carries 5-0. I think that was it.
Right.
We're setting the agenda for the next town meeting.
So May 18th will be a virtual town meeting, all tied to the budget. However, I have to add just two things to that. So I would like to start with, we are hoping that we have the sheriff's office contract by then. So I'd like to add the approval of the FY 2021 sheriff's office contract for consideration. If we haven't received that, then we will postpone it.
So that'll be one.
Number one. Number two is something that the mayor is working on. A Town of Emmitsburg grant for $30,000 for local businesses for consideration. This is something, the mayor and I were on a conference call with county executives that several municipalities are offering small grants to businesses that meet certain criteria that have been affected by the COVID-19.
Okay.
Great idea.
So we're working through that, the logistics of it. And then the next two are related to the budget. Number three would be the presentation and review of fiscal year 2021 town budget. And I'm just going to add for consideration. I don't expect it to be passed, but I'm going to add the language anyway. And then the final one that goes along with the budget is the approval of the FY 2021 employee salary chart for consideration.
Don't we also have to have the tax?
Tax rate goes along with the budget. So when you approve the budget, you've approved your tax rate.
36 cents.
36 cents per 100. For June, setting the June 1st, I just have two items outside of the budget. The first one is approval of Resolution 20-06R, Community Legacy Grant Submittal Authorization, the ADA curb ramps for consideration, and the approval of Resolution 20-07R, Community Legacy Grant Submittal Authorization, facade improvements for consideration. As of right now, they have not pushed their deadline back. That's why we need to get the resolutions approved. Number 3 would be the approval of the FY 2021 town budget for consideration. And number 4 would be approval of the FY 2021 employee salary chart for consideration. And that's all I have for June.
Anybody have anything they want to put on the agenda for June?
Yeah, I have a discussion item, I guess it is. I would like to discuss about the possible renaming and dedication of Community Park to one of our former, or I should say deceased residents who was very instrumental in getting that park started. Put a lot of his own effort into it, and well, that's all I got for right now, but that's, I'd like to discuss that.
Is there a name?
Yeah, Gene Myers.
Oh, nice.
Who was actually, I believe he was one of our mayors, right?
Yes.
Town council.
Yeah, he was late 70s, I believe.
Yeah, he put a lot of personal time and money into getting that park started. So that's all I got.
Anybody else?
If the budget's not passed at the June 1st meeting, keep in mind that we will have to have a second meeting in June. As the state mandates, our budget has to be adopted by June 30th.
So when would your second meeting be? The June the what?
June 15th would be the second one if need be.
Tentatively, we will be having a June 15th meeting if we do not pass the budget on the June the 1st. Everyone understand that or hear that?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Alrighty, is that it? Okay, for the May 18th
Yeah,
meeting?
I'm sorry. I was talking about something earlier. I'm going to hold off on that.
Okay. This is what we have for the May 18th meeting. We have the budget for the, the sheriff contract we have to vote on. For number 1. Number 2 will be the grant money for the $30,000 for local businesses for consideration. Number 3 will be the presentation of the renewal of the fiscal year 2021 town budget. And number 4 will be approval of the employee salary chart. Okay, that's May 18th, 4 items. June 1st will be approval of the 20-06 resolution. Number 2 is approval of 20-07 resolution. Number 3 will be approval of the budget for the 2021 year. Number 4 will be the salary chart approval. And number 5 will be discussion for the renaming of the community park to name it after Gene Myers. Everybody hear that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Any other thing? Yes.
Mr. Sweeney, do you need a
Yes.
motion for this?
I think we just need, do we need a motion or we just need a,
You can do consent.
yeah, we'll do a consent. Is everybody okay with everything I just read? I need everybody's
Yes.
consent.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and I also approve. So that's consent 5-0. I need a motion to close the town meeting. Is that what's on it for this evening, the virtual town meeting?
Yes,
Time.
and the time.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the town meeting, virtual town meeting of May 4th, 2020.
At 9:37,
Great.
38, 34, 34,
Nice.
9:34. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any nays? Thank you. I'll see you at the May 18th meeting on TV also, I guess, Zoom.
Be safe.
Thank you.
Thank
I gotta
you.
get out of here.
Stay
Figure out how to
safe.
get out of here.